بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. So welcome back from the Eid break. I hope you guys had a wonderful Eid, and we are continuing with our studies of التعبير القرآني. Okay, make it nice. And we had studied the passage where our author, Dr. Fadil Saleh Samirai, was giving evidence from the predecessors, from the Al-Qudama. So لَقَدْ انْتَبَهَ الْقُدَمَاءُ. So the predecessors had noticed a couple of things, and he was trying to give evidence from that, in which he quoted the book مِلاك التأويل, the foundations of interpretation. And this is the passage that he was quoting as evidence that predecessors, that the people who came before us also noticed some of these amazing things about the Quran. Okay, and the evidence for which he's giving is the fact that, you know, you would find a surah that starts with the disjointed letters. For example, if a surah starts with the letter Qaf, you would find that the letter Qaf in that surah is going to be repeated a lot in most of the words. Yeah, so you'd find Qaf in a lot of the words in that surah. And this is the evidence he was quoting. So جاء في ملاك التأويل, it came in ملاك التأويل في السور التي تبدأ بالأحرف المقطعة, in the surahs that begin with disjointed letters, that, so this is the beginning of the quote, إن هذه السورة, certainly these surahs, إنما وقع في أول كل سورة منها, only what occurs at the beginning of, only what is ما كثر ترداده فيما تركب من كلمها. This is, we did up to there. Only what is frequent in the composition of its letters is found at the beginning of each of those surahs. So only what is frequent in terms of its letter composition is found at the beginning. This is what he quoted. And now we were going to the next part where it says, now, here, depending on how you basically understand this part, is it majhul or is it ma'loom? Depending on that, it will determine how you translate it. Now, if you look at it as ma'loom, if you look at this part as ma'loom, then this ma, I think we had begun to mention that this ma will become the outside dua of yudihu. So, or yuwaddihu. If you take it as family 2, it will be yuwaddihu. If you take it as family 1, awdaha, yudihu, it will be yudihu. Okay? So depending on how you look at it. If you look at it as ma'loom, this will be the fa'il. If you look at it as majhul, this would be the naibul fa'il. Either way, they're both going to be in fi mahalli rafa. And I don't think it changes the meaning, the intended meaning so much, because it goes from will clarify to you, and it goes to will be clarified to you. So that's kind of like what changes in meaning. Yeah. So I just wanted to clarify that a little bit. And we had begun, and I was a bit confused how to take this part. And I think, yeah, the way Samia was saying is more is much better, that we take this part innaka as the maf'ul bihi of yudahu or yudihu, depending on however you want to look at it. Now, it's a bit difficult because we don't know what this author for Milakut Ta'wil intended to say. Did he intend to say that what I have mentioned before will be clarified, or what I am mentioning will clarify to you? You know, it's different when I say what I mentioned will be clarified, therefore you can use the majhul, or what I'm about to mention will clarify to you. So there are those two angles. So either way, I don't know, whichever one. I'm going with majhul because I'm assuming that he mentioned this idea. He introduced an idea that what occurs at the beginning is what is found frequent in the surah. Now he is explaining that idea. So that idea will be clarified with this explanation that he's giving here, that annaka idha nadarta. So that's why I'm going with the majhul. Okay. I just wanted to introduce that section before we actually go into it. Is that clear so far? I know this section is a bit difficult and it requires some extra attention. All right, let's see here. Alhamdulillah. Okay, great. I'm just going to show you like a simple. So I wrote this 2 different translations for this section, just to look at it in English before we look at it in Arabic, so that first of all, it's already complicated in English. So you can imagine in Arabic. Okay. So I went with the majhul. As you can see, the first one is majhul, the second one is ma'lum. And what I mentioned, so previously he introduced something, and he's saying now what I mentioned will be clarified for you in that when you look at a surah, from the surahs, in terms of what resembles them in their quantity and letter composition. So if you look at a surah and you start counting the composition of the letters in that surah, you'd find that the beginning letters of the surahs, so if it's whether it's a single letter like qaf, or it's a combination of letter like alif lam ra or alif lam mim, are more numerous. So words that contain those letters are more numerous in terms of wording in comparison to and in resemblance to the total number of its words and letters in the entire surah. It's already hard in English, you can imagine. Yeah, exactly. I thought so too. I felt like it sounds better because it offers an explanation of what has been mentioned before. Or if you read it as ma'lum, then what I mentioned will clarify for you that this. So the only difference is will be clarified or will clarify for you. That's the only difference. But essentially, what the message of this passage is that when you look at the beginning of the surah that have disjointed letters, and you take those letters and you start counting words that have those same letters in that surah, you'd find that that surah has a lot of words with those letters. That's the whole point that he's trying to say in this very difficult Arabic over here. All right. So is that clear in English a little bit? Before we go into the Arabic. Okay, alhamdulillah, great. All right. And by the way, guys, if you're not feeling like you get it, just let me know. Don't allow yourself to be left behind, and don't be embarrassed to learn. In other words, like ask as many questions as possible. That's the only way. Get over the embarrassing thing about learning. You learn better that way. Okay. So we had done this. يوضح is the فعل. لك متعلق. And the ما is وجدت جواب. Yes. وجدت is the جواب الشرط. Yes. So يوضح فعل مضارع مجهول. لك متعلق to that فعل. ما, we said because now this is مجهول, this ما is going to be the نائب الفاعل. So ما again is اسم موصول, and then what comes after it, ذكرت, is the صلة الموصول. Okay, so that ما ذكرت will be the فاعل, and then this, whatever comes after it all the way to the end, is going to be your مفعول به. What will be clarified? This is what is going to clarify for you. Yeah, so it answers the question what. Okay, so this whole part is going to be a مفعول به في محل نصب. All right, now we studied a bit of it. We entered into this section of the مفعول به, and we did أنك, that. Okay, that what. إذا نظرت, so إذا is أداة الشرط, and it's also ظرف. Sometimes it can be described as a ظرف. So this could be a مضاف, and then whatever comes after it could be said as a مضاف إليه. But let's just keep it simple. Let's say إذا is أداة الشرط. Okay, is a tool of condition, and whatever the فعل that comes after it is a فعل شرط. So إذا نظرت في السورة, في سورة, sorry, this is the متعلق to نظرت. منها another متعلق. بما يمثلها another متعلق. Then يمثلها ما هي ما موصولة. Then يمثلها صلة الموصول. Okay, Now, this silatul mawsul is also another sentence on its own. So you have يمثلها is the فاعل. The fa'il is the inside pronoun huwa, and then ha is مفعول به, which goes back to the surah. Okay. في عددي متعلق to this يمثلها. في عددي. عددي مضاف. كلمها مضاف إليه. واو حرف عطف حروفها is معطوف to كلمها. So you have this entire section we had said all the way up to there. Okay, so today I'm writing in black apparently. It's fine. All the way up to there is your shart. Okay, your condition. If you look at a surah from those surahs, بما يماثلها, in what corresponds to it in terms of the number of words and letters. So if you compare surahs, or if you take a surah and you look at the number and the words in it, what will you find? And now this is where the jawab comes in. All right, now let's see. Before we begin, I don't know if there are any questions, but if there are not questions, we'd like to see who would like to participate here.
I have a question, sister.
Yes.
Okay. So last time you gave a tip about this ma, that how to identify it is masdariya or mausuliya. The easy giveaway can be that we'll have an aid.
Yes.
So when I was looking at this ma, and I saw one ha after this fail,
Yeah.
but this ha is like a maful bihi for this fail.
Yes.
So this is also the aid for the ma,
No.
or it's considered as a maful bihi.
If I said that, I probably made a mistake. Because this is يماثل. ماثل يماثل is a فعل. So if you have a pronoun,
yes,
yeah, it's going to be the مفعول به. So, and of course, the pronoun inside ma is, I think, huwa. Is it here, really? I don't know that it is. It's huwa, or let me see. بما يماثلها. Guys, give me a minute. Think about it. I'm coming back. I need to do something. Okay, yeah. So we were talking about this ma. إذا نظرت في سورة منها بما يماثلها. So yeah, so the pronoun inside ma is huwa, and يماثل, it matches the inside pronoun inside يماثل. This ha is going back to the surah, which is a مفعول به. So this is not the aid here. The aid is inside the pronoun, inside يماثل, and there's a match. And that's why this is اسم موصول and صلة الموصول.
So it is referring to the surahs, the other surahs which resemble it like that.
Yeah.
So
if you look at
like feminine surah, the surahs as considered feminine.
Yes.
Yumasilu, it's masculine.
Oh wait, am I confused here? فنظرت في سورة منها بما يماثلها. Yeah, the ha goes back to the surah. So if you look at a surah, from those surahs, this ha is referring to surah, all the surahs that have huruf muqatta'at. So if you look at all those surahs, and you look at what it resembles, it in terms of its composition, number of words and letters in it.
So like
Yeah.
the huwa inside yumasila is referring to the number of the words and the letters in it. Like fi other than it's like kind of like fi mahalla.
Like tamiz, yeah, of some sort, I think. Yeah.
Like what resembling? The number of
Yes.
the letters and the number of the words resembles it.
Yes. In terms of this. So if you look at it in what resembles in terms of added kalim here. So this is some kind of tamyiz. Like it's explaining further, specifying further how it resembles in what way. Because resembling is such a vague term, right? So this could be like some kind of a tamyiz explaining how it resembles in terms in number of its words and letters. Okay.
Isn't the
Yeah.
it, Assalamu alaikum, isn't the it is referring to the surah? No. Because you're saying if you look at the surahs among them,
If you look at a surah, fi suratin, if you
yeah,
look at one surah
surah
from them.
among them, right?
Yes.
In terms of what,
Yes.
what resembles. So it's not okay, I guess.
You get it?
Yeah, I'm
Sort
just,
of.
why is it not feminine? I mean, like what she said now, because we're talking about a surah and surah, but we're talking about something within the surah now.
Yes. But what did you want it to, what did you hope to be feminine here? Like the inside
yumasilu?
pronoun? Oh,
Yeah.
you expected it to be tumathilu. But we are looking at what it resembles. So we are looking at the composition inside the surah, not the surah itself.
What it resembles. This it is what? Isn't it the surah?
No, what the thing like inside that surah resembles. So in other words, the number of kalimiha wa hurufiha. This is what is being referred to.
So, okay, so we can assume that is kind of the file in a way.
Or the tamyiz, easier way, because can we say that it's fa'il?
I'm just,
No,
I
we
mean, in
can't
terms
say
of meaning, right? Because you're referring yumasilu towards the number of words. So that it in the yumasilu is referring towards the.
So in terms of the
Right,
number,
okay.
yeah. So this is kind of like explaining further what it is inside here.
Okay.
Right. I
So
know it's a
ma
very
is
complicated.
So
Yes.
ma is basically referring to resemblance, right?
Yes.
Resemblance.
Yes, the
So
idea,
the ma
the
is
resemblance.
resemblance. And the idea of resemblance, of course, is a huwa, so it is going back to yumasalu. Okay? And then they are clarifying that resemblance in what? Right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
Okay.
that's an easier way of
Yeah.
looking at it.
Okay.
I hope that clarified something.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Alhamdulillah.
I'm taking this ma as the thing which resembles.
Yes, or even that, the thing which. Because if you say the thing which, you're looking at ma mawsula. If you say resemblance, then you're looking at ma masdariya, which can both apply here. But yeah, the thing which, go with the thing which, that would make it easier. The thing which resembles in terms of the number of its words and its letters. Okay.
And what is it is clarified by this, acting as the tamyiz.
Sister Ilham, Kalim,
Yes.
Kalim معها تمييز النسب.
Fi, because of fi. Tamiz is supposed to be nasab, but here we have jar majroor. So this whole jar majroor is going to be fi mahalli nasab tamiz.
Okay.
To you, Masih.
Thank you.
Good. Yeah, so let's not be hung up on this old Arabic. I mean, it's clearly above our level. These kinds of books, we will get to that level after we practice so many other books, easier books. So once we figure out how to do easier books, then we can try and figure out what is being said in these difficult books. For now, let's just understand a simple structure and maybe the general meaning of what the author is trying to say. And as we build that skill of, reading and understanding, then we will get there, inshallah. It's my hope. And again, these very tough sections are very few in this book. There's maybe I think we came across maybe 3 or 4. So those are going to give us some headache, but the rest of it, as we will see today, inshallah, it's going to be just smooth sailing, I hope. All right. So we said this is our shart, the whole thing. If you look at the beginning of the surahs, okay, if you look at these surahs that have disjointed letters at the beginning, and you looked inside them in terms of the resemblance between the beginning and what resembles the beginning inside the surahs in terms of the letters. So you're looking at the beginning is alif lam ra, for example. You go inside that surah, you look for alif lam ra everywhere in that surah. That's the resemblance that you're looking for. What would you find if you do that? So you have the next part, وجدت الحرف وجدت الحرف المفتتح بها تلك السورة إفرادا وتركيبا أكثر sorry وجدت أكثر because it's second مفعول أكثر عددا من كلمها منها في نظيرتها ومماثلتها في عدد كلمها وحروفها. Okay. Oh, you guys were supposed to read, not me. I can read this. You can also read this. So let's let me do this part, and then somebody else can read the second part because I've already read it. So we can just go through it. So this is the shart, like we said, this beginning part is the shart. If you look at those surahs, what would you find? So this is the jawabu shart all the way to the end. Okay. And you enter into that jawabu shart, you find wajadta, wajada, yajidu. This is a fi'al madi. You would find, and it's anta version, so the fa'il is anta. So anta wajadta. Let's put there anta wajadta. Wajadta is one of those fi'als that have 2 maf'ul bihis. So again, there's a list, I think, in our textbooks. Make sure you just have an idea of these fi'als that have 2 maf'uls or 3 mafa'ils. Just have some idea, because you will come across them and it will help you in how to analyze them. So now that I know wajada takes on 2 maf'ul bihis, I'm going to look out for those 2 maf'uls. So the first one I see wajadta al-harfa. So you'll find al-harfa, al-muftatiha, the beginning letters, or the introductory letters, or the opening letters, the letters opening the surah, in other words. So the opening letters biha, the opening letters of that surah, tilka surah, again, that surah. So it's just, this is a badal. Tilka surah is a badal of ha. Okay. So in other words, I can omit biha, I can omit ha and just say وجدت الحرف المفتتح بتلك السورة. You'll find the opening letters in that surah. So this biha is sort of like extra, like a badal. So biha tilka surah. I hope that's clear. So this is a badal of that. Okay. So you would find the opening letters. How would you find them? What about them? You'd find them in what sense? You'd find them ifradan wa tarkiban. This is explaining how. It's not the maf'ul bihi, it's maf'ul hal. It's explaining to you how you'd basically how they are. Sorry. Is it hal or tamyiz here? Why am I confused? وجدت الحرف المفتتح بها تلك السورة. Hal, yeah, individually or in composition. So whether it's one letter like qaf, or tarkiban, alif lam ra, for example. Yeah. So he's saying regardless of what you find at the beginning, regardless whether it's one letter or it's several letters together, what would you find about them? You would find them akthara adadan. You'd find them more numerous. You'd find them frequent. In terms of fi kalimiha, again, you have fi kalimiha. In terms of akthara is it's ism tafdil, because it's ism tafdil. Adadan is going to be your tamyiz. Okay, and this adadan fi kalimiha here is muta'alliq to adadan, to this tamyiz. Okay, so this fi kalimiha, numerous in its its words. Okay, أكثر عددا في كلمها. So you would find it more numerous in its words from it. في نظيرتها, in terms of its comparison, if you compare it, and if you resemble it, or if in terms of its resemblance and comparison to عدد في عدد كلمها وحروفها, in its comparison to the entire surah. I know it's a mouthful. I don't know why, but anyway, just to summarize what's happening there. So he says, if you look at that, you would find that the beginning letters, whether it's one letter or several letters at the beginning of that surah, you'd find that they are more numerous in number of words that appear in that surah if you compare it with other surahs that resemble it in the same number of words. Okay, so if you take two surahs, they have, maybe each surah has, let's say, 200 words. This surah has 200 words, or approximately 200 words. So you take the first surah that has maybe one of these disjointed letters, say Qaf, Surah Qaf. You take Surah Qaf, let's assume it has 200 letters. I'm not saying it has, but I'm saying just imagine it has 200 letters. If you go in Surah Qaf, you would find words that have Qaf in them. They're more numerous than if you take another surah that has also 200 words, but doesn't begin with Qaf. Is that part clear?
Sister Ram, can you please repeat it?
Okay. So he's saying, if you look at this surah, إنك إذا نظرت في سورة منها, if you look at a surah from these disjointed letters, if you look at the beginning, the disjointed letters, what begins the letters? What begins the surahs, right? In other words, if you have two surahs, okay, two surahs, they both have similar lengths or similar number of words in the entire surah. So one surah, Surah A, has 200 words, Surah B has 200 words, approximately. So you're comparing these two surahs, all right? You're comparing Surah A that has 200 words, Surah B has 200 words. Surah A starts with one of these disjointed letters, huruf al-muqatta'a. So Surah A, at the beginning of it, there's a letter, Qaf, at the beginning. Let's pick a letter that is not in the Quran so that I don't confuse you. So let's say Surah A starts with letters Zay or Ba, starts with the letter Ba or Alif, because it's letter A. I'm so confusing you, but anyway, stick with me. So Surah A starts with Alif, okay, just Alif. That is a huruf muqatta'a in a sense. If you look at Surah A, the whole of it, because now it starts with Alif, if you go to inside Surah A and you start counting the number of words that have Alif in it, you'd find that there's so many more words in Surah A with Alif than in Surah B, which doesn't start with Alif, but it has the same length and it has the same number of words. Am I making any sense there?
Yes, alhamdulillah.
Okay, so that's basically what he's trying to say. It's a difficult language, but that's what he's trying to say. If you take two surahs, compare them, surahs that are more or less the same length, if you compare them, you'd find the ones that have huruf muqatta'a, they have that letter repeated more times than any other surah that doesn't have that letter at the beginning. Okay. All right. Great. So that's just evidence from previous books that he's quoting. Now he's continuing to talk. So if anybody wants to volunteer to read this section. Okay, so we have Saima and Fawzia. Yeah. So we'll divide this into two sections so we can stop there. So Saima, you can read up to there, and then Fawzia can read up to the end. Sorry, just a minute. I want to see what this ciphers. Oh, so it's still continuing. Sorry, it's still Milaku Ta'wil. I was wondering what reference this is, but I think it's a bit easier, this part. I hope. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, Saima, you can begin.
Bismillah. وَاسْتَنَادُوا إِلَى الْإِحْسَاءِ. جاء في ملك التأويل عن سبب بدء سورة لقمان ألف لام ميم وسورة يونس ألف لام را.
B. So
B,
this
B.
B حرف جر. Yeah.
I'll just translate this much first.
Okay.
Yeah. So they rely on the statistics. What that Ja'a is the fail came in this book, Malakul Tawil. What has come? The reason about the reason of beginning Surah Luqman with Alif Lam Ra and Surah Yunus Alif Lam Mim, sorry, and Surah Yunus with Alif Lam Ra.
Yes.
So it's
beautiful.
going to tell the reason why these surahs are beginning with those letters. That is yes.
Yes, so he's going to compare these two surahs. One begins with Alif Lam Mim, another one begins with Alif Lam Ra. Okay, so he's going to compare those two surahs.
أنه تكرر في سورة يونس من الكلام الواقع فيها الراء 100 كلمة و20 كلمة أو نحوها.
كلمتين 20
numbers مضاف
أو نحوها. Okay.
So inna and ha will be it's certainly it تكرر. It is repeated. في سورة, so this is متعلق بالفعل تكرر in سورة يونس من الكلام. So again this is one again متعلق بالفعل تكرر. So من الكلام الواقعي, this is موصوف صفة الواقعي الكلامي, and this is جار مجرور من الكلام الواقعي. So the occurring words فيها in it, then this ha is going back to the Surah Yunus.
Yes.
Ar-ra'u. So ar-ra will be the maf'ul or it is the takarrara ka file? It is a maf'ul.
You can just look. You can just look at it as maf'ul, protected in quotes, like the letter ra. The letter r occurs. So أنه تكرر في سورة يونس من الكلام الواقع فيها الراء, that it has repeated in Surah Yunus from the words from I can't translate it word for word or literally because it's a bit difficult to translate literally. So from those words that have letter ra. Okay, so the words that have letter ra. Yeah.
Sister Ilham, why can't we take it as a simple mubtada? Like if we end the sentence at min al kalam al waqi, then we start off a new sentence fiha ar-ra. Like
this whole part is connected. You can't split that.
We can't assume that the sentence has finished. So I mean, we can say that the ra, there is ra'a 100 times. No?
So how would you translate al-kalam al-waqi?
Al-kalam, existing speech, or what do you say that?
Okay, so let me explain what's happening here. Okay, so what's happening here is so أنه تكرر, this part is mubtada, we don't have a problem with it. Inside the khabar of that mubtada, we have a jumla فعلية. تكرر is our فعل. So تكرر, the inside pronoun is the فاعل هو, and then في سورة يونس, that's a متعلق. Number one, that's متعلق number one. I think up to there it's clear. Then you have من الكلام الواقعي فيها الراء. So from the speech in which الكلام الواقعي, so this is موصوف صفة, you can actually use in which. So from the speech in which the ra letter occurs inside it. Yeah, in that speech in which ra occurs, or in those words in which ra occurs. So that's why you can't really break this and then stop there, because it doesn't make sense. Because we're looking at al-kalam al-waqi'i fiha ar-ra. Al-waqi'i fiha, this one is, it goes together. Yeah.
So fiha is mutalik to al-kalam al-waqi?
Yes. Yeah, and then you go inside fiha, then now you can look at it as mubtada khabar, muta'alliq bil khabar, but this fiha goes back to this. So this is muta'alliq to this, and then this muta'alliq has a mubtada in that sense. So it's kind of like one bucket still. You can't break that bucket. Yeah.
Okay, so can you help us with the translation of this whole sentence?
Okay. أنه تكرر في سورة يونس, that it has repeated in it has repeated in Surah Yunus from those words in which the letter ra appears in them, in which the letter ra occurs in them. الكلام من الكلام الواقع فيها الراء, from the speech in which the letter ra occurs in them. How many times? مئتا كلمة وعشرون كلمة, 220 words. Okay. أو نحوها, or thereabouts. So he's saying that if you look at Surah Yunus and you counted the words in Surah Yunus that have the letter ra in them, again, letter ra appearing in those words. We are counting the words in which have letter ra in Surah Yunus. If you count those words that have letter ra in them in Surah Yunus, you'd find them to be repeated approximately 220 times. That's what he's saying. Is that clear so far? Or any questions regarding that?
I have a question.
Yes.
He's comparing Surah Luqman with Surah Yunus?
Yes. He's going to talk about Surah Luqman later.
Yeah, but he's not comparing Surah Luqman and Surah Yunus.
He hasn't talked about Luqman yet.
Okay, he's going to compare Surah Yunus with Surah Nahl, which is the next. Right?
Oh, so basically maybe they made a mistake here by saying Surah Luqman. I don't know. I think so. Maybe.
Because in the earlier passage it said you had to have just about approximately the same number of words.
Length. Yeah.
And Surah Yunus has 109, whereas Surah Luqman has only 34.
Oh, okay. So we'll see.
Maybe.
Let's read on. I am not so sure what comes next. Let's read on and see. Maybe it could be a mistake that they wrote Luqman here and they meant another surah. Because again, remember this text has some bit of mistakes. I might forget where the mistakes are. So if you remember where the mistakes are, please also let us know. There's some mistakes, very few, but they're there. Yeah. Okay, so there's a question here. The ha in fiha is referring back to kalam. Yes. Yeah, it's referring back to kalam. Yes. The broken plural, kalam. So the ha goes back to al-kalam. Yeah, so occurring in it, in those words, the letter ra.
I have a question.
Yes.
من الكلام الواقع فيها الراء. If we not consider min right now, so would you consider from al-kalam to fiha as a sentence with mubtada and muta'alliq, and then because it has min before it becomes jar? Is that the way to understand it?
Yeah, you can look at it that way. If you omit the min, then this will be al-kalam al-waqa'u fiha ar-ra. Speech in which letter ra occurs.
So the
but
ra
it's
will
still a
be
mubtada. This whole thing will be still
the
a
ra
mubtada.
will be the khabar of that sentence?
No. This whole thing will still be one thing.
No, what is the right?
So if I said,
I think I was cutting off.
like if I said speech in which letter ra occurs, I haven't completed the sentence. Speech in which letter ra occurs happens 20 times, right? So then that gives me my khabar. But here, this is just a mubtada. It's incomplete. What about that speech? You haven't said, okay, speech in which the letter ra occurs. What about it? Yes,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. Alhamdulillah. Yeah, bit by bit, we'll scratch this until we get it.
Sorry. So what is this? Alif Lam Ra, is it going back to Waqia? So is it a file of Waqia?
Alif Lam Ra. Where? This the Alif Lam Ra here?
Yeah. Is it a file of Waqia? Because this is what is happening, right?
This
That like
Ra,
Alif
the letter
Lam
Ra?
Ra. Yeah. This one. Is it a file of Waqia?
Is it the fa'il of waqi'? No, no, I don't think. Do we look at it that way? Do we say waqi' is amil? Waqi' is acting like a verb? No, I don't think so. I don't think because this is mawsuf sifa. This is the sifa to al-kalam. Al-kalam al-waqi'. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, do I say that this waqi' is doing the work of a fi'l, so that this is the outside doer? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure you maybe you can look at it that way. I'm not so sure, honestly.
Like
Maybe.
if we cut it off like min al kalami, okay, part of the sentence, all right, but like min al kalami, and then we say that Alif Lam Ra is occurring in it 210 times.
But you can't cut it here because this is Mawsuf Sifa.
Yeah.
There's no break in the chain.
Yeah. You keep it as a mawsuf sifa, but like you take it as a complete sentence. You can't take a complete sentence. I know I'm going haywire. Sorry. Sorry.
I don't know if I get you, but if you understood, then alhamdulillah. You lost me a bit. Okay, that's good. Keep them coming so that we can brainstorm we can activate our brains.
I think we're trying to find a connection between ra and al-waqi'. So I think that we are using our own theories. How is it connected? So maybe we can understand like that.
It's just متعلق. Don't overthink it. This فيها الراء. Oh yeah, you can actually look at it as a فاعل. من الكلام الواقعي الراء فيها. You can do that. You can flip this. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm doing.
Mm.
Because you bring this jar majrur before, or you make it muqaddam to give the translation like there is, so the translation is going there, but I took it as a file. This waqia should be with waqia.
Yeah, this is one bucket. The problem with Arabic text is that there's no punctuation. So probably in English, there'll be a comma here. And that would tell you, oh, okay, so that's connected somehow. I need to pause there. So that's the funny bit. You just have to figure out the grammar in your head as you're reading to figure out where the commas are and where the full stops are. It's interesting that way. But I hope there's some clarity of some sort, some idea. Okay. Fawzia, you can read the next section.
Okay, Bismillah. وأقرب السوء إليها مما يليها بعدها من غير المفتتحة بالحروف المقطعات سورة النحل وهي أطول منها. I go to the end.
How did you read Surah?
Where is it? The first one? Surah. Which one?
The after بالحروف المقطعة.
Surah النحل.
Okay. I think it's Surah 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, because بدا خبر. سورة النحل.
وهي أطول منها.
Okay, beautiful.
And the closest surah to it, from what follows after it, which that does not have the opening huruf muqatta'at, is Surah Nahl. Yeah, you're right. Is Surah Nahl, and
Yeah.
it is would I say longest or longer than it?
Longer.
Longer
أطول
than it.
من. Yeah. Normally
It's
comparisons come with
Yeah.
min.
Okay. Longer than it.
Yes. Beautiful.
So
Okay,
this-
so
So this
go
is
on.
when I was saying, so Surah Yunus is being compared to Surah Nahl, which comes after it, because Surah Yunus is Surah 10 and Surah Nahl is Surah 16. And Surah Yunus is 109 ayat and Surah Nahl has 128 ayat. So that's why I was wondering about the beginning sentence.
Yeah, so probably this is a mistake. This is not Luqman. Maybe the discussion about it's longer than this, because again, remember, he's just pulling bits and pieces of the book, Milakut Taqwil. He's not Ta'wil. He's not copying the entire book. So maybe this excerpt was taken from the discussion between Surah Yunus and Surah Luqman. I don't know. I haven't looked at this discussion in that book. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. But it's obvious here that he's comparing Surah Yunus and Surah Nahl. Yeah. So anyway, so he's saying وأقرب الصور إليها. أقرب is اسم تفضيل. Of course, this is going to be a mubtada, and of course, اسم تفضيل, whatever comes after is going to be مضاف إليه. So أقرب الصور مبتدا. So this is our mubtada bucket. إليها متعلق, number 1. مما, من, again حرف جر. ما اسم موصول. يليها صلة الموصول. So this is another jar مجرور bucket. So this is our متعلق number 2. بعدها, again special مضاف. So this is another متعلق number 3. Okay. من غير المفتتحة. من حرف جار again. غير special مضاف. المفتتحة مضاف إليه. So you have المفتتحة بالحروف. This بالحروف is connected to المفتتحة بالحروف المقطعة. So this whole part من غير المفتتحة بالحروف المقطعة. This is another jar مجرور متعلق number 3. And that whole part makes the mubtada. Okay? That whole part makes the mubtada. And which means the khabar is just this part. This is our khabar. Surah Nahl. That's the khabar. And go on.
Sorry. The reason you said bil huruf is connected with muftahatihati is because this letter comes with ba.
It's because it's related in such a way that these letters من غير المفتتحة بالحروف, like these letters are not starting with the disjointed letters. The opening letters are not starting with the disjointed letters. So من غير المفتتحة ب. This word comes with ba. مفتتحة.
That's what I was saying. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in that sense, yes.
Because earlier
Okay.
also it came with ba.
Yes. Yeah, it comes with that. Yeah. Opening with, like even in just in English, like opening with letters, opening with this passage, opening with, so it comes kind of with the letter ba. All right.
Sister Hannah, how did you translate yaliha? Yaliha?
Yaliha, mimma yaliha, what follows it? What follows it? After it. Okay, so let's unpack this. Let's unpack all these muta'alliqs here. So he's saying, and the closest surah to it, i.e. to Surah Yunus, the closest surah to Surah Yunus from what comes after it, So you have Surah Yunus, you look ahead. What surahs do you have? You see Surah Nahl ahead of it somewhere. Okay. So he's looking at the surahs that come after Surah Yunus in terms of what follows it after it. What follows it after it. Okay. من غير المفتتحة بالحروف المقطعة. From those surahs that do not begin with disjointed letters. So if you look after Surah Yunus, the surahs that come after Surah Yunus, what follows it that do not have disjointed letters, you'd find Surah Nahl. Is Surah Nahl, and in fact Surah Nahl أطول منها. It's longer than Surah Yunus. All right. Clear about that? Okay, I think Fawzia, we can just finish this part. The next time we'll start from the next section.
Okay. الوارد فيها مما تركب على الراء من كلمها مئتا كلمة مع زيادتها في التولي إليها. في التولي إليها.
في التولي عليها. Exactly.
Appearing in it with what composed on Ra in its words are 200 words more زيادتها more in length. In length on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you a hint or like a template. When you see ma'a and ala, like sort of coming together like that sometimes, you can use despite or given. So despite مع زيادتها في الطول, despite its length over it or above it. So it's longer than Surah Yunus. Surah Nahl is longer than Surah Yunus. That's what he's trying to say. So he's saying والوارد فيها, and it is mentioned or it appears in it مما تركب على الراء من كلمها, from the compositions of words having letter ra. Okay. It مئتا كلمة. You have 200 words. Despite its length over it. Despite Surah Nahl's length over Surah Yunus. You only have 200. In other words, Surah Yunus, he told us, I haven't done the count. I don't know what's happening. Okay. For some reason, my screen, okay. Surah Yunus, 220 words that have Ra in them, letter Ra. Nahl, 200 words. Despite Surah Nahl being longer than Surah Yunus, you expect the longer it is, the more words it has, and therefore the more probability of having the letter Ra. But when you look at it, Yunus, despite being shorter, it has more Ra in it. So he's saying, you see, my point is that because Yunus starts with Alif Lam Ra, so that Ra keeps on appearing in Surah Yunus a lot. So that's basically the point. Okay. Any questions there?
Ma zadatiha. So that is related to what?
Ma'a is special mudaf. So this is going to be other متعلق. So مع
Yes.
زيادتها, despite its also you're asking it's متعلق to what, right?
Yes.
متعلق to
Yes.
الخبر, because this is our مبتدا. الوارد is our مبتدا.
There is no khabar in it,
مئتا.
right?
No, مئتا كلمة is the خبر. Then متعلق. So let me go through it. Let me go through the breakdown. Okay. So الوارد مبتدا. It's an اسم and it's the first رفع. So it's a مبتدا. فيها متعلق. We know جار مجرور متعلق. من again جار مجرور. ما اسم موصول. تركب صلة الموصول. على الراء. This is متعلق to تركب. على الراء من another jar majrur, and this min kalimiha is connected back to tarakkaba. So you have this whole section is one jar majrur, and then this is the second jar majrur. So you have متعلق number 1 here, متعلق number 2 there. This is من كلمة is it goes back to تركب, and على الراء it goes back to تركب. So that's inside that section. And then مئتا كلمة, this is your خبر. Okay. And then مع زيادة, no, this will be your متعلق to الوارد, متعلق بالخبر. Of course, this goes all the way to the end. Is that clear?
And في توليل is it's like a tamiz. It's
Yes.
like it's what?
Yeah, because increase in what? زيادتها, increase in what? It's an ambiguous term. So you have في الطول as a تمييز.
جزاك الله خيرا.
وإياكم. Again, don't be stressed by this difficult Arabic grammar here. Like most books are not this hard. And once you learn how to just read without hyper analyzing, and inshallah it will come for all of us. Like you just read without hyper analyzing. Is this mubtada? Is it khabar? Is this, you know, you will just understand the meaning automatically, just like any language. You know, when you're speaking your local language, you don't hyper analyze it, and you don't say, okay, is this object, subject, verb, preposition? Like you don't do that. Nobody does that. But because we're learning a language and it's still the early stages, we do this. But then when it will come naturally to us, where we just read and understand without having to break it down, inshallah. Any other questions or clarifications before we end? Because this section really drains the brain.
Just one clarification. So Surah Yunus has 220 words with Ra in it. And
Yes.
Surah Nahl has 200 words with Ra in it.
Yes. Yes. That's what he's saying. I haven't counted, so I don't know if this is true. But according to Milakut Ta'wil, the book, these are the counts. Because you see, when he started the point, he said, وَاسْتَنَدُوا إِلَى الْإِحْصَاءِ. They relied upon counting. So they actually went and counted 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and now he's giving us the evidence for the counts that they did. These are the evidence. Yeah. And he will give, I think, more evidences on those counts that they relied upon, yeah, in this next part. Like this occurs how many times, the different counts of that. Okay. Any other clarifications or questions? Okay, I think it's safe to say we can end there. And inshallah, tomorrow we'll pick up on this last paragraph. We'll see if we can be able to finish it or not. It doesn't really matter. By the way, as you prepare for this next session, you don't have to know some of this terminologies in it. It's not really a must unless you did a tajweed class. Personally, I don't know any of this stuff because I didn't do proper training in tajweed, like a proper study. I'm self-taught in my tajweed. So there are a lot of tajweed terms that are going to be mentioned in the next paragraph. Don't, like, if you ask me what mahmusa is, I'm not going to be able to tell you. I don't know. So you can learn on your own, or if you know, you can inform us, but don't be hung up on these words. Just know and if you check them out in dictionaries, you might not find the accurate meaning. I don't know. I never checked them out, but these are just names of those particular letters or groupings of letters. So yeah, don't be confused by that. Yes.
If it might help. So these that Mahmusa and Mahjura, what all are they? So the letters, they have certain characteristics, like how we have, like, someone is fat, thin, good, bad. So the letters, even the letters, they have characteristics. And the letters, which the name of the letters, the Mahmusa, like for example, if I say fat is a characteristic. So the person which is fat is called fatty. So Mahmusa is the letter which has the characteristic of Mahmus, hums. That is.
Is it Hamza with the word Hamza?
I
Sorry?
don't think so.
Hamza.
Hamza.
Ha means hums.
Yeah,
The name of
with
that
the same.
characteristic is hums. So the letters which have that characteristic, they are called mahamusa, and so on, all that their names are given. So the jahar is the name of a characteristic, and all those letters which have jahar, they are called mahjura. Same, the shidda is a characteristic, the letters which have shidda, they are called shadida.
Shadda.
Yeah, shadida.
Shadda. Tajdeed, what we say, I think so. It's from that.
Yeah, so this is a tajweed thing, like the Saima mentioned. You know, they have characteristics. I don't know much about that, but thank you so much, Saima, for giving some clarity so that when we go into this section, we don't really drain so much of our brain juices trying to figure that out. Okay, so they're
Sister,
about, I
in the
think,
above paragraph, once
Mhm.
the ja fail has started, so annahu, so this will be like masdariya which has acted upon for this ja, the rest of the thing.
Which section is that?
No, this paragraph.
Uh-huh.
Ja fi.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, then again here annahu. So this
this
annahu.
is, so if you see this brackets, you see this brackets, it means quotes, like he's quoting something from the book. So ja'a fi milakut ta'wil, it was mentioned, or it came in basically from the book. Milakut ta'wil is a book. This is what was mentioned. This is in quotes. This is the quotes. Okay. If you see double brackets in this book, it means quotation marks. Yeah. Yeah.
So this, what was the clarity which came out, sister? Because my network was going out and come. This one, fi har ra. So was it mubtada muakhar ar ra and fi ha jar majrur muqaddam? This one?
I think it's better to look at it as the fa'il of waqi'.
Okay, ar ra. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is rafa.
Yeah.
Ji.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either way, if you look at it mubtada khabar, it's still rafa. Either way, but I'm not 100% sure here, honestly. Like, don't take my word for it. It could be the outside fa'il. It could be the mubtada.
Because here min al kalamil waqi, this is one combination, sister. Mawsuf
all the way
like
up to here.
Al kalamil waqi.
Yes, mawsuf sifa.
So this mawsuf sifa. So we can, how can we just give this ra to only for the sifa?
So this is connected, and this fiha is muta'alliq to this. Muta'alliq to al-kalam.
Al-kalam, okay, back to kalam. Okay.
Yes. So this fiha goes back to al-kalam. You can look at it that way. And then you can say this ra, or you can say that this fiha. Either way, it's still the same thing. Whether you say it goes back to al-waqi' or it goes back to al-kalam and al-waqi' are the same thing. They're mawsuf sifa. So there is still one bucket.
But can we refer this back to jar majroor thing, sister? Ar-ra? Because this has been majroor because of min, right?
No.
Min al-kalamil waqi?
No. This is fiha ar-ra'u. Al-waqi'i fiha ar-ra'u.
Ar-ra'u. But here, min al-kalamil waqi, right?
Yes.
This word before. So we can do this ra'i mutalik to jar majroor also? Even that can happen?
No. It has to be either it's going to be protected by the quotes, and therefore we'll say this is marfu' ala al-hikaya. I don't know if you're familiar with ala al-hikaya. So we'll just say that this is protected by the quotes, so we won't change anything. It will just be ar-ra'u. So you can look at it that way. Or you can say that this ra'u is mubtada to fiha. Or you can say that this ra'u is the fa'il of waqi'. Either way, it's still going to be marfu'. It will never be anything else. However you look at it. Yeah.
Sister Ilham, you take fiha mutalik to kalam, then this is muannas, right? So is it متعلق to kalam or is it متعلق to surah?
Kalam. Kalam is broken plural. So treat it as
Kalam
one
is not
F.
singular. Kalam is plural. It's not singular.
Wait, what is kalam? I'm not so sure. It's
Yeah,
one of those
kalam is
plurals that is I think it's an isim jama.
Is it?
It's a plural. Yes, I think so. Because speech. Like speech
yeah.
it's not just like it's a combination of things in it. I think it's I will check it, but I think it's isim
Like
jama.
Arab, like you use Arab, you can use it like a class or something. Is this how you're taking it? Kalam, like when we say Arab can be singular. It can be taken as a plural if you're referring to a class. But here, kalam is, what is it? I mean,
I think it can be both taken as plural and singular at the same time. It's one of those words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I will
So
confirm
we
further.
can't say. Yeah, we can't say. Yeah, you must be right, inshallah. But fiha, can you look at it as in the surah, like it is occurring in the surah, like so ha is going back to surah?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I think
So if
that
it
is a
going
better
back
way of
to
looking at it,
surah,
actually.
So fiha, then you should go back to surah Yunus. Like it is
Wait.
occurring in the surah.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. This ha goes back to the surah.
Surah, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for that. Good catch. I was just assuming kalam is a broken plural. I don't know why my mind went there because I just, again, a lot of assumptions.
It should be fihi then. If it is going back to kalam, it should be fihi, but it is fiha.
It can be fiha. I think so. Yeah, I think it can be. But I will confirm further. Yeah.
Okay. Alhamdulillah for adding to our knowledge.
Honestly, sometimes I really appreciate you guys because you point out things and I have to rethink my whole thought process. And like I understand the speech, but then breaking it down like you guys, it's so hard. I can just read it and understand everything that they're saying, but then again to understand the role, what is this one doing? What is this one doing? It's much, much harder. And alhamdulillah, you guys like really push me, so that's great. Alhamdulillah. Okay, Saima, no problem. I think we would be ending anytime soon anyway. Unless there's any other thing that needs to be clarified urgently before we leave.
Then this from takrar to the whole thing is khabarna, sister. The whole thing will be khabar of anna.
Yes. Yes, the whole thing.
The last.
Yeah. Yeah, up to here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, I think we can end there. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام.
جزاكالله خيرا كثيرا sister.
وإياكم جزاكم